Today, we're going to talk about one of the most exciting questions in the series. Who will be the next to join the Straw Hat Pirates? So today, we'll break down all characters' chances of joining the Straw Hats, going from the least likely to the most likely. For example, Blackbeard has a 0% chance of joining for obvious reasons, and Zoro has a 100% chance of joining as he is already a member. So let's get right into it with the first character, which is Buggy the Clown, who has a 0% chance of joining the Straw Hats as he would never want to have Luffy as his captain. Just like Luffy, Buggy wants to become the king of the pirates and find the One Piece. And as we know, Oda showed us that Buggy is one out of the 12 characters that will find it, so he has no chance of joining the crew. Now let's talk about Luffy's first friend in the series, Koby, the captain of SWORD, the Marine Headquarters Secret Special Force, who, just like Buggy, has a 0% chance of joining the Straw Hats. Although Koby is good friends with Luffy and even cries out of happiness whenever he sees him in the newspaper, Koby has always dreamed of being a Marine, so he would never leave the Marines to become a Straw Hat. Even if Luffy asked him, he would decline the offer. Next we have Captain Kidd, who has a 1% chance of joining the crew, so we won't be seeing him as a member of the Straw Hat Pirates. This is because of Kidd's fiercely independent nature and rivalry with Luffy. As a captain of his own crew, he has a strong ambition to become the Pirate King himself, which directly conflicts with aligning under Luffy. Also, Kidd's combative and prideful personality makes him very unlikely to submit and obey Luffy's commands, which we saw many times during the Wano arc. The new shogun of the land of Wano, Kazuki Momonosuke, only has a 2% chance of joining the crew. Although he has a strong relationship with the Straw Hats and especially Luffy, who also told him that if he would ever want to become a pirate, he would be welcome to sail under the Straw Hats flag, his primary duty is to lead and protect Wano as its new shogun, fulfilling his father's legacy by ruling the country and ensuring its safety rather than adventuring at sea. So his responsibilities as a leader make it unlikely for him to leave Wano. Now let's talk about Luffy's father, Monkey D. Dragon, the leader of the Revolutionary Army, who has a 4% chance of joining the crew. As one of the most wanted men in the world, even labeled as the world's worst criminal, Dragon's goals are on a much larger scale compared to the Straw Hats' journey to find the One Piece. Joining Luffy's crew would shift his attention away from his own mission of dismantling the world government and take down the Celestial Dragons, which doesn't align with the more adventure-driven and personal goals of the Straw Hat crew. So although there is a possibility that the Revolutionary Army and the Straw Hats could form an alliance in the future, Dragon is very unlikely to join his son as a crew member. Luffy's brother Sabo, the second in command of the Revolutionary Army, only has a 6% chance of joining the crew and calling Luffy captain. Although Luffy and Sabo are brothers, they have separate goals that can't be achieved as crewmates, and he would also never leave Dragon and the Revolutionary Army behind. However, if he ever did, or if the Revolutionary Army got disbanded, then he would more than likely join Luffy on his journey as he vowed to always protect his brother. The Marine Admiral Fujitora thinks Luffy is a kind and respectable man. However, he only has a 7% chance of joining the crew as Fujitora's loyalty lies with the Marines, not piracy. Despite his moral opposition to the corrupt aspects of the world government, Fujitora upholds the ideals of justice and seeks to reform the system from within. Joining a pirate crew like the Straw Hats would conflict with his role as an admiral, and his mission is to protect civilians, not engage in the lawless life of piracy. So although this would truly boost the strength of the crew, Fujitora is very unlikely to join. The former right-hand man of Gol D. Rogers, Silver's Rayleigh, has an 8% chance of joining the crew. Although the Dark King will probably fight alongside the Straw Hats during the final arc, he will most likely not become a member of the crew. Rayleigh has retired from the life as a pirate, and serves more as a mentor figure for Luffy rather than someone who would join his crew, as he's passed the torch to the new generation of pirates. Marco, the former 1st Division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates, has a 10% chance of joining the crew, as when Shanks attempted to recruit him to the Red Hair Pirates, Marco cheerfully shut down his offer, saying he was done babysitting bigger pirate groups and felt he was getting too old for such affairs. So, Marco effectively retired from a life of piracy, meaning he has a very low chance of joining the Straw Hats, although he do see them as his allies and friends and holds Luffy in high regards. Next we have Smoker, who has an 11% chance of joining the Straw Hats as he does have a bit of respect for Luffy. Smoker joining the crew could make sense for a late story edition, as he has been through a lot with the crew and has in a sense followed Luffy for most of the journey. A brand new character could lack enough time to feel relevant compared to the rest of the crew, But of course, Smoker joining is very unlikely. Now let's talk about Carrot, who we all thought would be the next crew member at some point, but now she only has a 12% chance of joining the crew. As we know, Carrot has been appointed the ruler of the Makumo Dukedom, as Inuarashi and Nekomamushi stayed in Wano. So being the ruler of the Minks, it's very unlikely that she will leave Zoo and become a pirate, feeling like her story with the crew has ended. Katakuri, the new captain of the Big Mom Pirates, has a 14% chance of joining the crew. Katakuri has a lot of respect for Luffy after their fight on Whole Cake Island, who saw Luffy as the victor, as when Brûlé told him that the Straw Hats had escaped safely, he smirked. However, as Big Mom fell during the battle at Onigashima, Katakuri became the Big Mom Pirates' new captain, meaning that he is unlikely to join the Straw Hats and leave his siblings behind. But an alliance with the Straw Hats is not impossible in my books. Trafalgar Law, Luffy's best friend, actually has a 20% chance of joining the crew, and I'll explain why. Although Law is just as stubborn as Kid, and as we saw during the fight against Big Mom and Kaido when Luffy told Law to protect the samurai, Law was furious with Luffy, as Law said that he didn't do it just because Luffy told him to, and he is not his subordinate who he can just order around. However, after Law lost to Blackbeard, I think his chances of becoming a member of the Straw Hat Pirates grew. Law knows how strong Luffy is, and he himself is not strong enough to fight other pirate crews like the Blackbeard Pirates, as we clearly saw. So he might feel like the best thing to do is to join the Straw Hats. Next we have Charlotte Pudding, who has a 25% chance of joining the crew, although she at the moment is being held captive by the Blackbeard Pirates. I believe there is a chance that Pudding gets saved by the Straw Hats and her husband Sanji, as they are in fact still married. If this does happen, there is a real possibility that they will stay together as well if Pudding gives Sanji his memories back, which means Pudding will travel on the Thousand Sunny and ultimately join the crew. So I do believe Pudding joining the crew can absolutely happen. Now we have Boa Hancock, who has a 45% chance of joining the Straw Hats. Hancock is in a very tricky position at the moment, as if she stays in Amazon Lily, she endangers her people. And we know that the previous Empress left the island for love, and Hancock's dream is to marry Luffy. So there is a possibility that she sets out to join the crew. However, the most likely scenario is not her joining the crew, but instead fight alongside the Straw Hats as an ally. Now we are reaching the characters who have a much higher percentage of joining the crew, and let's start with Lilith, who has an 80% chance of joining the crew. As Lilith escaped with the Straw Hats after the Egghead incident and is seen celebrating with the crew, she has a very high chance of becoming the next crew member. However, the most likely scenario is that Lilith will join the Revolutionary Army because she will want to take revenge on York after she was revealed to be a traitor responsible for instigating the Egghead incident and many of the events prior during the Egghead arc. And after Saturn's demise by the hands of Emu, York has become the direct subordinate to Saturn's replacement, Figureland Garling. So since the Celestial Dragons and the world government are the main target of the revolutionaries, I see Lilith helping them. And we also know that Vegapunk initially refused to join the Revolutionary Army due to lack of money. Now Lilith, like Vegapunk, could help them. Talking about the next Straw Hat member without mentioning Bon Clay is impossible, who I believe has an 82% chance of joining the crew. Although many fans believe Bon Clay to be dead after his fight with Magellan, it was revealed that he survived this and remained incarcerated in Impel Down. Over the next 2 years, he rose to become the new Queen of New Kama Land on level 5.5, where he was shown leading his followers in dance. Bon Clay is also most certainly going to make an appearance before the story ends, and what better ending to Bon's story than for him to reunite with Luffy and join the Straw Hats. Now let's talk about Jewelry Bonnie, who has a 95% chance of joining the Straw Hats. However, Bonnie wanted to know the truth about her father, which is what happened. So after she escaped together with the Straw Hats and Kuma, she achieved what she had always wanted, and she even happily brings up her dream of traveling the world together with her father. So I think the most likely scenario is that Bonnie will join the Revolutionary Army, as Bonnie's main enemies are the Celestial Dragons and the world government. So even though she has been looking for Nika, which she found in Luffy, her whole life, I see her joining the Revolutionary Army instead of the Straw Hats, although she does have a very high chance of joining the crew. Yamato, or Kazuki Oden, has a 99% chance of being the next member of the Straw Hat Pirates. As we know, Yamato already confirmed that she wants to join, but she chose to stay at Wano as she still has things to do before that, just like Jinbe told Luffy during Fishman Island. However, I believe Oda made Yamato stay in Wano for the time being, as she has a big role to play there, as Pluton, which is one of the 3 ancient weapons, alongside Poseidon and Uranus, is located in Wano. Yamato has therefore been set up to fight someone very powerful on Wano, which is probably Blackbeard, as Caribou will tell him about Pluton and Poseidon, leading to Blackbeard separating his crew to head towards Fishman Island and Wano. So I believe Yamato will repel the attack and join the Straw Hats after she sets sail to reach them. Finally, we have to talk about Nefertari Vivi, who has a 99.99% chance of joining the crew, which is the highest percentage out of all the characters in One Piece. This is because she technically already is a member of the Straw Hats, although she stayed in Alabasta to help rebuild her country. But, as we all remember, the crew showed the X marks when they were sailing away, telling her without speaking that she is part of the crew, and X means 10 in Roman numerals. So Oda might have put it right in our faces this whole time that Vivi is the 10th member of the crew. Vivi also has a major role to play in the final arc of the story, and will be the catalyst for the final conflict with the world government, likely filling a similar role to her ancestor. So Vivi is more than likely the last member of the Straw Hats. And there you have it, each character's likelihood of joining the crew. But this was, of course, only my opinion, so who do you think will be the next Straw Hat pirate, and who would be your favorite to join the crew? Drop your predictions and answers in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more One Piece content. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.